Good morning. Hey, it is a beautiful day. Today is really nice outside. It's a Monday. It's just after 10 o'clock, and we are going to be talking to Blake Hawkins with Freedom Hawk. Freedom Hawk has been on KHEA radio before, and I'm going to be finding out what he has been up to, what Blake and his team have been up to with everything that's going on in the world. I'm going to kick us on the FM, and we're going to have some fun this morning. If you're watching on social media, thank you so much. Hit the share button. Let me know how you're doing today. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. My name is Gardy, and I'm going to have a guest here during this 10 o'clock hour. I'm going to have Mr. Blake Hawkins with Freedom Hawk. We are going to be learning what business has looked like for Freedom Hawk during this time of shutdown, quarantine. I know that businesses are being allowed to open and operate in a way that they weren't allowed to a couple days ago. So I'm going to get Blake introduced and find out how he's doing today. What's up, Blake? How you doing, man?
What's up, Gardy? Man, it's a pleasure to be here, sir. I'm excited. Normally, we're in the studio together, so obviously it's under different circumstances, but it's all good.
Where are you coming from today? Where are you at?
I'm at my office, man. So I'm over here by the Galleria, and I'm at my tiny little office, and I'm here streaming with you live, man. I'm ready.
Cool. So I think we are discussing a little bit. How long has it been since things kind of started changing due to, they call it a global pandemic. I don't even really know what that means, but like COVID-19. Yeah. What has business looked like for you during these past 2 months?
Man, it hasn't, obviously with real estate, with what I do, we haven't seen a massive dip. We've done quite a bit of business. Now, I will say, dealing with, there's been a few logistics aspects of the business that have obviously had to change as far as meeting with sellers, closing at the title companies, things like that. But other than that, man, our business has been rolling. I will say that, because of the virus and everything, dealing with some of the sellers, there's been a little bit of a fear and a little bit of just maybe, I don't know, people maybe a little bit more procrastination on doing some deals just because the sellers are a little bit uncertain about what's going on. Mm-hmm. So those have been some of the challenges that we've been facing, and we've done pretty well overcoming those. But it's mainly just been on the personal level. Just sellers they're uncertain. They don't know what's going on. There's all this Corona stuff going on. All of a sudden they're trying to sell a property. So just overcoming that hurdle has been probably our biggest thing for us with the whole COVID-19 frenzy.
Yeah. So whenever it comes to real estate, I don't know much about it, but it just goes up and down. It's like, oh, it's a good time for buyers. It's a good time for sellers. What's happening right now?
So right now, like I said, we haven't seen much of a change, because what I do on the investment side is it's pretty much year round. We are targeting a market that it's off market properties, and so these are very situational scenarios. The reason why people sell, we often deal with a lot of retired landlords, people that have rental properties that they've had the properties for 20 years, and it's time to liquidate and move on, and so we're an easy option for them to do that. So these are all very situational things that we deal with off-market properties. So for us, it's pretty consistent. Now, I will say that, unfortunately, due to some of the financial stress that has happened for a lot of people, I do feel like in the next probably 60 to 90 days, we'll see an increase in sellers, mm-hmm. just because we'll be a viable option for them, financially, right? So people that aren't able to make their payments, going into foreclosure and things like that, we're going to be a legitimate option to help these people out, because there's a little bit of a time lag between financial distress and actually feeling those effects. And so we haven't seen much of a difference now, but I feel like in the next 60 or 90 days, there probably will be an increase in sellers.
Yeah, the government was sending out checks to help people, some relief. If you're married, you got it doubled, and then if you have kids, there's a little bit more. And I know people were able to use those for necessities, and one of the necessities that you have to have is somewhere to live. And so
Absolutely.
I remember whenever they were talking about essential jobs, I didn't really like the title of that because
Yeah.
it made some people. To me, I hear that and I was like, that means some people are unessential. Like, come on, like
Yeah.
everybody's essential to somebody,
Yep.
to something, right?
100%, especially to the economy. 100%. Yep.
Yeah. And so real estate was deemed, an essential job because people still need to have somewhere to live, sell, buy, right?
Right.
How did that? I guess how did that go? Was that because there was a time of uncertainty where you didn't know, like, are we still going to be able to work?
Yeah.
Um, and then you got the news, okay, we're allowed to go. Like construction and everything else is still moving. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it really, for me, on an in-house basis, it was more of just with my team. I mean, how are we going to do this? I have three acquisition people. Two of them have kids.
mm-hmm.
So obviously, there's, with the kids being home from school, there's some things there that that have to be done differently than what we normally do. We all come to the office. It's going to be all of us in the office. We're banging out calls. We're making appointments. We're doing the whole thing. But obviously, with two of my salespeople, they both have children. Now, one of them, his wife stays home full time, so he's still able to come to the office. But my other sales guy, Brandon, he has to work remotely from home. So just making those adjustments and staying connected as a team has been one of the most important aspects for us. Just because kids ain't going back to school for I don't think it's
Maybe
gonna happen.
ever. We don't know.
Never. They're
Nobody knows.
homeschooled forever. Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to my wife or talking to someone. I was like, some little kid's prayer got answered. There's some kids out there that are like, I pray we don't have to go back to school, and then it's like it worked.
But you know what? I bet you these kids now are like, man, I want to go back to school, man.
Yeah.
I'm tired of being with mom and dad all day.
No joke. My son told me last week, he was like, man, he was like praying, and he was like, why didn't my prayer work? I prayed that coronavirus would go away, everything would be back to normal, and I said, I think it is working. Look at, he doesn't know. I'm not gonna tell him, look at the numbers, look at everything. We all have to do our part and everything else. But I was like, well, keep praying and just keep doing, what we know the best we can, and that's all we can do.
That's all we can do, man.
Hey,
100%.
You mentioned, Brandon working from home, and he's been in studio before, but I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I noticed he's getting a lot of, even before this, he was getting a lot of tattoo work done, and there's like a whole 90s sleeve cartoons and Ninja Turtles. Is he open to suggestions for that?
He is open for suggestions. I've given him a few, and he's definitely open for suggestions. If you have a tattoo idea for Brandon, if it's 90s theme, hit him up. He will get it. He will get it inked up, man. Yeah, it's looking good, man. He has the whole thing going on right now. I think he started with one, and now it's starting to fill up completely. So, yeah, man, you should the 90s, man. That's where it was at. So,
yeah.
So yeah, man. If you have any ideas, definitely reach out to him, man. He's definitely open to it.
Yeah, my favorite on there has to be the Raphael, like the Ninja Turtle. I'm pretty sure it's Raphael. That's my favorite on there. But he has Fresh Prince, some Rugrats stuff going on.
Yep.
Man, what else is on there?
There was Full House. Remember Full House?
Yes.
House, Step by Step. Man. Family Matters.
TGIF. He just needs the whole TGIF.
Dude, the TGIF.
And then you're good to go.
Man, I reminisce, man. That was like, I love that. I love TGIF, man. That was like one of my favorite parts of the week when I was a kid. It was so awesome.
Yeah. Part of quarantine and these families being forced to stay home and people working from home, it almost to me, it's just like that family time that we used to have when I was a kid, but with cell phones, the technology added a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I have found, even if I'm trying to work from home or I have my phone and something else, like even I have a 3-year-old daughter coming up and be like, Daddy, put your phone down. And I'm like, oh man, I do need to put my phone down. I'm trying to get some work done, but during this time, taking advantage of having an opportunity to spend more time with my family. And that's one thing that I hope to keep after we get through all of this, where we can find out what life looks like after this. Try and keep that special time with my family, being strategic about it, I guess.
No, 100%, man. I think this has been an opportunity for all of us just to kind of have those moments where we can be a little bit more present, and kind of value our relationships and our friendships and our family a lot more, because in a sense we were kind of forced to, you know what I mean? So, I think it's going to end up being a positive, man, for everybody. I really do. I know right now it's it's still kind of a crazy situation. But I think when it's all said and done, this will end up being a blessing in disguise, and then hopefully, they'll be able to get the health aspect of the corona stuff figured out. That way, it stops, the spread of all that. But as far as the family stuff, I think that's going to end up being a blessing for a lot of people.
We should have been doctors. We'd have had this figured out,
Oh
right?
man, dude. Oh my, dude, I do not envy those guys. I have no respect for the healthcare. I mean, man, those
Right?
guys, man, that's a tough job, and I'm glad I'm not there because I would not be able to figure out any of that stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, I see how hard you work normally whenever there's not a potential crisis on hand.
Yeah.
And then imagine if Blake was on the case and he knew he was like our man, Whenever
Yeah.
when uncertainty like this pops up, does this motivate you to work harder?
It does, man. But this is I've had a lot of introspective time myself, man, and for me, I've kind of really have done a little bit of some self reflection and finding more balance in life, right? And just realizing that you can there can be a balance, and obviously it's like you're on the go, and you're kind of in that routine, and I've still been working and still been productive, but this has given me an opportunity to kind of realize, you know what, I need a little bit more balance in my life, and so I've been kind of working on having more balance, having a little bit more of a work-life balance, and to be honest with you, man, I feel like it's actually helping my productivity even more because when I am locked in and dialed in, I feel like I'm more productive because I'm not as tired and burnt out. You know what I mean? So yeah, this has been a huge thing for me too. Just finding that time, of self reflection where it's like, you know what, I need more balance in my life. Making sure that I'm connecting with my relationships and my friendships and my family and just taking care of myself.
Yeah. So right now it is 10:25, 10:26. This is KHEA Radio.com, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. My name is Gardy. I'm talking to Blake Hawkins with Freedom Hawk. So if this is somebody's first time to hear of Freedom Hawk, Blake, let them know what you do and who you make relationships with.
Absolutely, man. So we're in the real estate business. We have a real estate investment firm here in Houston, and what we do is we acquire off market properties, and we sell these properties to other families or investors, mainly investors, and we help people get out of a situation, right? So off market means a property that is not listed with a realtor on the MLS. So this is a property that is not necessarily for sale, but the seller wants to sell, and we help those people move their properties, and we connect those properties to other investors, and we get the deal done, man. And we all win. It's a win all the way around. So that's what we do on the real estate side.
It seems like it would be tricky because if something's not for sale, I guess you have a very specific person and you're trying to help them get out of a situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you find those? How do you find those people and those deals and then I guess create a relationship with them?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what we do is I have a call center in the Philippines, and they're like family to me, man. They've been with me for a while now. We talk every day, and we have a meeting today at 11:30. And these guys, what we do is we pull a bunch of data. The data is basically targeted towards absentee owners. So these are people that own properties that they do not live at. So what does that mean? That means that they're probably a landlord. Okay. And we target high equity. So high equity means someone that basically has owned the property for 10, 15, 20 years plus.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna reach out to someone that just bought a property, right? Like we're not gonna do that. It doesn't make any sense. So we reach out to people that have owned properties for 10 to 15 years plus, absentee owners. We also target a list called no data. No data is basically a situation to where there's a lot of probate issues. So an inherited property it's a little messy. There's a bunch of people involved. There wasn't, it didn't get anything finalized at the court with inherited property. So we target those. We can help people in those situations, which there's a lot of those. And we did a deal recently where we actually, the guy was living in his father's house. His father passed away, 10 plus years. He was living in his house, and he could never sell the house. And he tried to sell the house before, but there was title issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we did is we obviously did the deal with the guy. I got with my probate attorney. He knew his father was married, but we didn't know who he was married to because this was in the 60s. And she looked up the marriage. We got the marriage in Harris County. We got all the information. We sent the information over to title company. Title company cleared up title, and we got the deal done.
Wow.
So yeah, and so it's things like that are a little bit unorthodox, a little bit outside the normal realm of traditional real estate. We help those people in those situations. And obviously, like I said, for us, it's a win because we create income and revenue from that, from moving that property. But then obviously for the seller, we're helping them be able to liquidate and cash out with a property that was maybe causing them a little bit of some problems.
Yeah, it's good to have options. Yeah, it's definitely good to have options. Hey, there was a story, and I'm friends with you on Facebook, and I love following, and I always get like motivation, or I just see some of the posts that you put out there, and it's good stuff, right? So there was a story about you contacting someone about a house, and she was like, but anyway, I just remember my comment. I was like, man, you could have had a date and you could have got a deal done, a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
What was up with that one?
Yeah. No, that's in that situation, we get some of that. It sometimes we're reaching out to people and they're like, why are you reaching out to me? Things like that. So yeah, we actually ended up talking to her. She's not interested at the moment to actually do anything, which is completely fine.
But that's in the back of her head too. Now she knows she has an option.
It's an option, exactly. And the thing about this real estate business, a lot of it's timing. So it's I tell my guys, look, you talk to someone today, you may not do the deal today, right? And that's normal. This is a timing situation. So when people get to that point to where they're ready to do something, if we stay diligent with being professional and staying in front of them, they're gonna do the deal with us because we've been there the whole time. And so I just it's a process, it's timing. There are times that we talk to somebody and the same day we do the deal. That does happen, but mainly it's timing, right? But our job is to let them know that there is an option, that we're a viable option, and and if we can make it work out for all parties, we can get it done for everybody.
Mm-hmm. You'd mentioned having the call center in the Philippines. How have they been doing over there? Have they been saying like the same thing? Have they been kind of like locked down or not able to work as much as they would like, or what's going on?
Yeah, it's locked down over there too, man. And with the Philippines, obviously they don't have the healthcare system like us, right? So they got to be even more precautious. And so they've been very, it's very serious over there with everything. So a lot of my guys, they all work from home anyways. So it works out okay for them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been a few situations like, just them going to the bank and things like that. Like it's really, it could be a little bit difficult because they're on lockdown over there too, man. And I don't, from what I know, and I could be wrong, they're a little bit more strict. Like you can't just walk, go out of your house and walk around. Houston, man, we have lockdown and everybody's at the park.
Yeah. Did you see the videos from Galveston and the beach, which they opened the beaches, I guess this past weekend? But did you see any of that footage of Galveston Beach?
It's crazy, man. Yeah, it's crazy, man. So that's Houston. That's Texas in general for you, though, man. We don't follow the rules.
Yeah, and in my head, I'm like, well, maybe they should have just never shut it down, so that way people wouldn't feel like they have to go, because it was like a holiday or like a big thing out there, and it was packed. And I don't know, because I didn't see with my own eyes, but I just saw camera shots, and it's like, that looks like a lot of people, but they're in cars. I don't know how this stuff works. It was just a lot of folks out there.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
And then I even saw someone post on social media complaining how everybody was out there just saying like, man, they're not taking this serious. I'm like, you were out there too. Like you came from, like you lived on Houston, and then you're kind of like almost scolding these other people. Like, whatever. I guess everybody has to make their own choices. What's best for them and their family and friends. Yeah. Hey, something not real estate related. Have you been watching the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls documentary? Have you seen any of those episodes?
So last night, I got in late. I was with a buddy. I'm going off on a tangent. So I haven't been able to work out, right? Because the gym has been closed. But my buddy has a home gym, so I went over to his house last night and got a workout in. It was phenomenal, man. But yes, I got in late last night, and I was catching like the last like 20 minutes of the current episode. So I got to go back and watch it. But I've watched all the other ones, and dude, I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm not a big TV guy, but I love this show, dude. I'm like hooked. I'm hooked on it.
Yeah, because I mean, we lived through that. I mean, there's people that are younger that they won't understand, and this has been a good informational thing, I guess. But those Michael Jordan championship teams with the Bulls, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and then the first three-peat. So I watched the Dennis Rodman episode, and I still need to catch up from there. So I think it's Phil Jackson next, and then last night, from what I understand, is a Kobe Bryant episode, and I'm not sure what the other one is, but man, it's been really cool to watch and
Dude,
see these things.
It's been awesome, man. And like for me, I guess I think most of us, we didn't realize that, here's the thing. I'm obviously I'm a Houston guy. I love the Rockets, but Jordan left for I think an 18 to 20 month period.
Mm-hmm.
And when he left, the Rockets won 2 titles.
Well deserved.
Well deserved. Absolutely, man. But I think about it, I'm like, if Jordan would have stayed and he would not left for baseball, they could have potentially won 8 straight titles.
Potentially, yeah,
right?
That's true. Yeah.
Potentially won 8 straight titles. And then if Krause, the GM, wasn't trying to break up the team, do what? They could have won 10.
Yeah.
Whenever, you know what I mean?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I didn't understand that. I was like, why does this have to be the last year? And so I was watching this with my mouth like wide open. My wife's like, what are you doing? But I'm trying to be quiet because it's late and my kids are going to sleep and all this stuff. And I was like, I never understood that as a kid. I'm like, why? But why? Yeah. And he thought,
And honestly, man, like from what I could tell from watching the show, it had nothing to do really with basketball. It was just all this. I don't know, man. It was business. It was personal. It was all kind of crazy stuff. And it's kind of sad, man, because I'm like, that could, like, obviously they're a phenomenal dynasty, but man, what it could have been, is, but I mean, it is what it is. But it's a really cool show, man. And I'm an MJ guy. I've always been an MJ guy. That's my dude. Like, to me, he's the greatest athlete of all time. And just kind of seeing the behind the scenes even more, like his mindset. He was such a monster, man. Like, he just mentally was always locked in and dialed in. And basketball to him was it wasn't just basketball. It was like it was his life, and I admire that. And so yeah, man, MJ is he's awesome, man.
Yeah, and nobody was going to outwork him. Kobe Bryant had that same mentality. Like, nobody's going to outwork me. I'm going to come back and be the best. So,
absolutely.
Hey, is there anything else you'd like to share today?
Man, I just, not really, man. I'm looking forward to everybody getting back to business, getting back to life. For me as a small business owner and an entrepreneur, like, besides obviously the health situation going on, my main concern was, all my fellow small business owners financially, so, I hope and my prayers go out to all the, small restaurants and business owners and all the guys, because that's what keeps our economy alive is small business. That's what this country is built on. And I'm just excited to see all these guys get back to work, get back to business, get the economy back flowing, get everybody, kind of back in motion. And so I'm pumped to see that, man. And I appreciate you having me on the show today.
Of course. Hey, have a good one, all right?
All right, brother. Appreciate it, Gardy.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM.